celebrating 140 years of the Glendale Lyceum. In 1882, Robert Clark, who is considered the founding father of the Lyceum, gathered a few gentlemen with the hopes of forming a nonprofit. The constitution they adopted stated that the objective of the Lyceum was to promote higher education, social and friendly relations, and to provide literary, musical, and social entertainment for its members. The Glendale Lyceum was formed in the fall of 1882. The Lyceum was incorporated on October 11, 1883. The first formal meeting was convened on November 3, 1883 at Glendale Town Hall. The primary service provided in the early years was that of a lending library. In December 1883, the lower part of the town hall was leased for $1 per week, including heat. $250 was raised for furnishings, and this space was used for the following 3 years. In December of 1885, $5,000 was raised to buy a lot of land to erect the current Lyceum structure. The Lyceum was completed and furnished for a total of $22,017. Samuel Hannaford, the renowned architect who designed Music Hall and Cincinnati City Hall, was engaged as arbiter and helped to settle construction disputes. The project was completed in 1891, and the cornerstone was laid with a spectacular 4th of July celebration. Throughout the 1880s and 90s, the club's activities broadened to cover lawn tennis, country fairs, billiards, children's events, Saturday night assemblies, the operetta, Penelope, the drama performance, Hunt the Slipper, a minstrel show by the men, and tableaus by the women. In 1899, the decision to allow ladies to join the board was made. Mrs. Alfred Allen was elected as the Lyceum's first female president. From 1899 to 1907, women ran the Lyceum. In 1907, the Constitution was revised to prevent women from being on the board. It wasn't until 1983 that the next female was elected. In 1908, Mrs. William Cooper Proctor donated 10 shares of Procter & Gamble stock. The Lyceum began to also offer its members a facility for athletic activities. A bowling alley was constructed in the basement, that we now know as the pub. In 1910, the tennis courts were constructed. In 1912, the grounds west of the Lyceum were purchased with the aid of a generous donation from William Cooper Proctor. In 1917, 20 of our 176 members enlisted in the Army. In May 1920, the Lyceum sponsored its first children's party. Everything was free. There was a magician, a shooting gallery, doll babies, pony cart rides, and ice cream cones. A grand celebration took place, in 1933, to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Glendale Lyceum. Almost the entire membership was in attendance. This event marked the first of the many directors' balls to come. In 1941, with the advent of the Second World War, it was decided that any member away from home on active duty with the armed forces of the United States or her allies will, upon action of the board, be continued in membership without payment of dues. By 1944, 62 of our members were serving in the armed forces. Their names are now inscribed on an honor roll in the library at the Lyceum. The 1950s was the decade of Sputnik and the baby boom. Many well-known entertainers appeared at the Lyceum, such as Duke Ellington, Lionel Hampton, and Louis Armstrong. The swimming pool and the paddle tennis courts were also opened. In the early 60s, 2 new, all-weather, true-bounce tennis courts were constructed, the new blacktop parking lot was laid, and a sparkling new upstairs kitchen was built to replace an older one on the lower level. The director's ball was open to young people when they reached the age of 16. For many, it was their first formal affair. They came with their parents, on best behavior. Fathers danced with daughters, mothers with sons, and grandparents with grandchildren. It was the event of the season, looked forward to, by all. Sometime in the 80s, the tradition stopped but was then reinstated several years later. In 1983, the Glendale Lyceum celebrated its 100th birthday. David and Grace Hamilton chaired the centennial year and Peggy Chartelot presided at the occasion. The 100th anniversary ball featured a memorabilia exhibit, dinner, dancing, and a program of sketches and songs. A giant birthday cake with 100 candles was the centerpiece of the evening. The 90s brought us a beautifully remodeled facility, new pool, multi-purpose building, refurbished and heated paddle tennis courts, kids camp and the rebirth of our beloved dramatic club. All of these, accomplished through countless volunteer hours, donated by our membership, in true Lyceum tradition. In 2009, the old shelter was demolished, and a new pavilion was erected for Lyceum members' enjoyment. It has hosted many events since it was built under the direction of Mike Fassold. Many thanks go to Jack Howard for his architectural drawings and dedication to the project. To help raise money for the pavilion, members purchased bricks that are featured at the entrance. Our Facebook page was also created in 2009, as we took a more proactive approach to marketing and advertising. Kids Camp was opened up to non-members and the office moved over to electronic mail. We also saw our first Dog Day at the pool. Outdoor weddings began at the Lyceum in 2010, when brides and grooms fell in love with our beautiful backdrop in nature. The wedding tree has become a popular spot for couples to exchange vows. We saw an increase in weddings and rentals about the same time, as staff was dedicated to increase revenue for the Lyceum. In 2013, we saw the unveiling of a completely renovated basement in the English pub style. Members are forever grateful to Bill Skillingstad and Dick Gregory for their skill, and a year of volunteer hours to provide the Lyceum with a spectacular space to gather. A fundraiser was created for members to purchase engraved pewter mugs and goblets, that can still be purchased today. 2015 brought the closing of Racket Sports at Beckett Ridge, and a deal was made by Ann Turner and Andy Taylor to allow those members to join the Lyceum as racket-only members. The year started with 4 racket-only members. Andy and Ann added 40 from Beckett. That number grew to nearly 77 racket-only members in 2021. We have only recently seen a decrease in 2022, due to many of those racket-only members joining as full members. In 2016, a bridal suite was created as a space for our Lyceum brides to get ready on their special day. Many thanks to Kelly Sengia and Katie Kreidler for their time and dedication in making a space that has further helped in growing our successful wedding business. In addition, we contracted an event coordinator to help with booking and overseeing non-member rentals. Facebook, Instagram and event marketing pages began to bring in more weddings. 2017 brought the decision to diversify our P&G stock holdings. In 2019, pool management was contracted to Swim Safe, the office received an overhaul, and pickleball made its mark on the Lyceum. Unfortunately, the COVID-19 pandemic brought activities to a screeching halt in 2020. The facility was shut down due to government mandates for nearly 4 months. After we were able to open again, events were smaller, gathering was less frequent, and it wasn't until 2021 that we started to see a rise in activities again. Attendance was still low and most people preferred to gather outside. In 2022, we have returned to business as usual. This year brought an enormous kitchen renovation headed by Randy Green with much assistance from Bob Denny and countless others. This renovation has brought the possibility of new rentals and thriving relationships with our vendors. We've also seen some turnover in staff this year. Like any great business, we must change with the times. We so appreciate all of our loyal members, and their volunteer efforts that continue to make this a truly wonderful place to gather. The Lyceum still remains true to Mr. Clark's vision of social entertainment and friendly relations amongst its members. We have, all of you, to thank for that.